Okay, guys, hello. Hopefully, we will be connecting now. I'm hoping. Hello, hello, hello. Should be streaming now. Yes, we're on. Okay, guys. First of all, I'd like to apologize to you guys. For those of you guys who were there, I apologize for the late start. Was having some technical difficulties. For whatever reason, the Google and the Wi-Fi did some kind of a weird thing, and it shut down. I had to restart the computer, re-sign in to the Wi-Fi. Anyways, since we're late, we're going to go ahead and jump right in. I want to thank all of you guys for being here with me on a Tuesday night. I promise you I'm going to get everything made sure squared away so that we don't run into this issue of being this late again. My heart can calm down, guys. That type of stuff, just to let you in a little bit about me, that stuff can kind of get my heart racing when things aren't working the way you think they should work with technical stuff. So anyways, I'm calm. We're on. Hi, everybody. I'm glad you guys are here. And the phone line is open. I'm going to go ahead and jump right into the phone line. But while I'm doing that, and while we're waiting, I'm going to go ahead and go through the intro. If you are new to the Royal We Live, go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you are not yet a subscriber to the channel, and join the Royal We community. It's a fantastic community. And if you are a subscriber, hit the notification bell next to the subscription button. This will make sure that you do not miss any of the Royal We Live shows. I know that we get going late at night, and we have a call from Georgia. Georgia, if you'd hang on for one moment while I get through the intro here. Because we're on late, it's easy to forget the live stream, so hit the notification button. That will make sure you do not miss any of the live streams. It will notify you. Also, connect, guys. Connection is the most important part of the Royal We. I encourage you to make that phone call. It's difficult to call, but it's healing. There's healing in articulating your experience. It's also healing for everybody in the community. Before I get on the phone, guys, I do want to put out the viewer discretion warning. We are talking about narcissistic abuse, issues of domestic violence, possible sexually explicit material. So viewer discretion is advised. Let's keep this 18 plus content here on the Royal We, guys. Also, last but not least, you're welcome to stay anonymous throughout your telephone call. You do not have to put your name out there. You don't have to use any names whatsoever. It's completely up to you. This is for your protection, as well as the protection of anybody else that you can think of. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into our first phone call from Georgia. You're live on the Royal We. Thank you for calling.
Yes. Hi, Kevin. Thank you for your, first of all, thank you for your channel. And I actually called a few days ago before I had done what I needed to do, and I got nervous and I hung up. So I'm glad I got back through. But my question was, I was in a relationship for about 7 months, or not really a relationship, because my narc would never actually commit to the relationship, but almost made me commit to it. Okay. And it's just been classic narcissistic turmoil for the past 7 months. I mean, breaking up and getting back together every couple days, every week or so. Finally, on Thursday, I decided to completely go no contact. I actually just ghosted him. Like, I didn't even tell him I was done with the relationship. And he repeatedly called me, like, from restricted numbers. I blocked his number. And then on my social media, he made a few comments. I didn't respond to them. And then today I actually blocked him on social media as well. But I was just kind of conflicted with myself, thinking, should I have told him it's over? Or I just kind of feel that's not I would never do that to somebody, like, normally.
Well,
so I'm just kind of wondering.
Well, let's back up a moment here. How many times have you guys gone back and forth already in this relationship? It sounds like he's broken up with you, and you guys have gotten back and forth with this, right?
Yes, it's been about since June, maybe about, no lie, like maybe 15 to 20 times we've cut it off and then got back involved.
Right. And I'm sure, and now every time you've gotten back together, probably had something to do with you going back and trying to say, this is why I'm breaking it off, or him saying, this is why I'm breaking it. It doesn't work. I guess that's my point.
Right.
Right. And so at some point, your discard, and I did make a video called The Final Discard Stage of Narcissistic Abuse. And in this video, I put this twist in the video towards the end that you're only going to get if you watch it towards the end. And I think it blew people's minds, because the truth is that the true discard comes from you. Okay? A narcissist will come back to you if the narcissist believes that you'll be available for him. Okay, this is especially true with these relationships. If he knows that he can knock on your door and get his needs met next week or the week after, you better believe he's going to be there. Okay,
Yeah.
he's not going to stop. And so by you going and saying, "Oh, by the way, I'm breaking up for real this time," he's not going to take it seriously, and he doesn't care, right? He's just going to probably want to come and use you again. And so the real discard has to come from you. Now, the reason I'm telling you this is because when you are really done, it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be,
Right.
because you are now facing the reality that you may cause hurt to somebody. Okay?
Right.
But now watch this. This hurt that you're causing somebody is actually to spare your own emotions and to spare the up and down ridiculous cycle of a relationship that's going nowhere but wasting your precious days that you have very few of. And I'm sure in some way, shape, or form, you want a good relationship. You'd like possibly a marriage. You'd like possibly to build a family. You would like all these things just naturally, and it's being wasted away with this. Well, let's get together this week, and let's stop this week, and let's get together this week, and let's stop that week, and you know what I mean. And so,
Right. Right.
so it's going to be very
That's exactly why
uncomfortable. Stepping up and saying no is never easy. It's not, because you are going to risk really hurting somebody, and you don't know how he's going to respond. He might flip out, and so in these things, it may not be best just to go like you usually do and try to talk about it, but instead just back away and hold your boundaries. Hold the fort down. It's your castle. Hold it down. Put a perimeter around yourself.
Yeah.
Start saying no. When he calls you at midnight or 2 a.m. and says, "Hey, want to Netflix and chill?" Say no. Don't.
Right.
Come over. This is how you're going to
Right.
slowly back out of it. You're going to deny, deny, deny. Say no, no, no. Like you're a fortress. No. And this person's an intruder who wants to come in and storm your castle, and you've got to say no. Because when it comes to narcissistically abusive people, they just want to come in to, pillage and steal and just take over the castle, right? So you have to hold it down. Hope that makes sense to you.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it makes so much sense. It makes so much sense, and that's exactly what I like. I honestly decided to just ghost him instead of giving an explanation or anything, because of that reason, that I know I'm kind of prone to fall back into his not lies, but whatever he's offering, I just kind of go back into it. So.
One of the things I cautioned you guys as a community, and this myself too, is to stay clear of these things like ghosting and silent treatment and all of these little Band-Aid treatments that exist out there, because that's what they are, right? So when it comes to the royal we perspective, which is no contact, and there's good reason for that. The reason is, and I should make a point of saying this in every episode, it's narcissistic abuse is a result. It's best a result as being involved with somebody you have no business being with, doing things you have no business doing, going places you have no business going. This is narcissistic abuse. This is it. We follow the wolf into the wolf's den. We follow the devil into the pit of hell. However you want to visualize it, that's the truth of what's going on. And so once you finally get that, you understand that no contact is not a game. It's to save your life.
Right.
It's to save your life. And it, people still don't necessarily always get that. And the reason they don't get it is because, well, we have some fun times. And when I let him use my body, and, it can be fun sometimes. But it's slowly killing you over time.
Yeah.
And that will not stop. It will not stop.
It would not stop.
So it's a slow, you got to understand, it's a slow death, and you have got to say no, and you've got to say yes to life, and you got to understand that there are, and I take a biblical perspective too, and read 2 Timothy. It will tell you exactly who not to associate with at all. That's
I definitely appreciate that. And I have been watching your videos. I've been trying to take your advice. And the last thing, I'm really glad that you corrected that ghosting versus no contact. I actually looked it up earlier because I was feeling so bad about ghosting, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm.
And they basically said the same thing that you said, but I'm going to stick my ground. I feel very empowered this time. And like,
Good.
I have never blocked him on anything before. So I just really feel the 5 days
Good.
and I just support you and I feel good. But thank you so much, Kevin. I really appreciate you. I know you're like
Thank
helping.
you. Yeah. Thank you for calling. I appreciate it. And I'll let you go and open up the phone line. Thank you for calling. Guys, one of the most important things about having this community here on a nightly basis is that what a strong community of people that you're involved with that you can talk to and connect with, even in the chat. And so when you're having these moments where a narcissistically abusive person, a boyfriend or girlfriend, whoever's trying to contact you, you can be here. What should I do? How should I handle this? And the purpose of doing this Monday through Friday, every single night, guys, is to make sure that you do not fall into that trap. This is a safe place to be. And that's why we're doing this, right? And we're going to go ahead and take a phone call from, it looks like Red Deer AB. I'm not sure where that is. It looks like it's out of the country. You're live on the Royal We.
Hey.
Hey, how are you? Where are you
Hi.
calling? Where are you calling from?
I'm from Canada.
Okay. I didn't recognize the area code or anything there, so thank you for calling. You're live on the Royal We.
Yeah, I left a message for you the other day.
Okay.
My case is a little bit different. I was married for 21 years, just shy of a month to my ex-husband. He left me via text at work. We have 2 kids.
He left you with a text? He just said, I'm leaving. I'm leaving now.
Yeah, he pretty much said, you refuse to change, and I'm done.
Okay.
And
Did you have
on a Wednesday?
You have any idea what he was talking about?
Oh yeah, we'd had this was just like ongoing.
Okay.
But like he had never left a marriage. It was a constant walking on eggshells for basically 20 years.
Right. And anytime you try to approach him, he would attack you as if you were causing problems, right? When you just wanted to try and help fix things. Is this kind of how it was? Right. So typical empath, right? You're trying to pour love into the situation. You're trying to sprinkle some heaven on a hellfire that just wants to burn, right? And this is a very difficult environment to be in. And so what took place? He left, and then what?
And then he left, and we're trying to get divorced. That's a whole other story. My biggest question is, number one, I don't know how this happened to me. He didn't love bomb me. We didn't sleep together before we were married. There wasn't like this hoovering and him abusing me by name calling or anything like that. It was very insidious. I didn't meet up to his expectations.
Right.
And when I didn't, then he would stop talking to me, silent treatment. And near the end, and I actually almost had a nervous breakdown about 5 years ago. I ended up in emergency, and it was really bad. And I realized that I had to take myself back. And so I started going to therapy, and I just started not putting up with the abuse any longer. So if he would stop talking to me, I would just leave him alone.
Okay.
Needless to say, things just got ugly. He said I was a waste of time to spend time with because he wasn't achieving anything. He said I was overweight.
Blaming you for his life of issues, right? This is narcissistic abuse, right? So and it's not, obviously his issues in life are not your fault, right? Him not becoming and doing and whatever, it has nothing to do with you. It's him and his life, and you became the outlet, right? And so don't take that on yourself. You do what you are exactly what you're doing, which is focus on your healing, because it's very painful to feel like you have to carry the burden of somebody else who's blaming you for them not being able to live their life and fulfill, right, their life and obligation. And furthermore, even in a marriage, you're the number one priority. Marriage is tough. Marriage takes sacrifice, right? Marriage means that you don't get to run wild and do all the wild things that you did when you were 19 and 20. And if you're not ready for that, then you don't get married, right? And narcissists don't understand this a lot of time. They get married because they want their cake and eat it too. They want that stability and home, and they want that person to control and say, you're here to do whatever I want you to do. If that means cook and clean and give me sex and this and that, and I want to live a life out, I want to still, go crazy. You can't do that. Life's not like that. People get hurt.
I think my narcissist had nothing to do with going out and doing whatever he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
He is the ultimate control freak.
Control freak?
Oh, yeah. Everything had to be how he said it, and it didn't matter what I did. If it wasn't how he stated it, how it should have been done, how whatever, then I wasn't worth talking to. And I think I just want to educate people that it's not always just about them cheating or them doing whatever on the side. Sometimes it's all about control. Mm-hmm. It's all about the ultimate control freak. And if they can't control you, then you're absolutely nothing. Like you're just, I don't know, you're just like you're worth absolutely nothing to them.
Well, that's absolutely true. In fact, that's one of the biggest and the main attributes of abusive narcissists is that desire to control. They are controlling. They have to be in control. But this is exactly why a lot of them resort to the name calling and the things like that, the cussing, the intimidation. The reason that stuff comes out is because it gets to a place where they feel like they're losing control, right? And so they try to strike fear to try to regain that control in the situation, not realizing, like a normal person would realize that if I'm mean and rude, I'm going to push the person away further. Narcissists don't feel like that. Narcissists look at it as like a possession of theirs is not functioning properly, and so they're taking it out like a child with a toy that hits it. You're not working right anymore, and they get mad, and you're a waste of time. And I'm sure you've seen a kid, maybe they'll even take a toy and go, "You stupid toy," and throw it, right? And this is how they get when it gets to the point where people are like, listen, this is bad. You don't control me. I'm not, this is not how this works. That's when all of a sudden they shift, because you're supposed to be there just to be there for them, for whatever they want. I've experienced that. I know a lot of people in the community have experienced that. So what you dealt with the control, that is a main attribute of abusive narcissists. And life can seem really good as long as you are serving them constantly. But
that's exactly what it is. And I think my question is how do you, when it's not the other kind of narcissist, like what are the signs in the beginning? Because he showed no signs of this in the beginning.
Of the controlling nature? Well, the controlling nature is always, well, it depends. And this is a very difficult one, because, and it's something that I even struggle with, because I believe I failed to see the signs of the controlling nature of a person who was very close to my life, who became extremely controlling, to the point where if I disagreed with them on anything, politically or anything, it resorted to the name calling, the cussing me out, telling me how ignorant, all the stuff that you see in today's society in regards to that stuff, because of this whole polarization. You either there's a group of people, it's narcissism, narcissistic abuse. They tend to be on this side where you agree with us, or you're a dumb, idiot, ignorant, stupid, waste of time, and we're not going to talk. How dare you think differently than us, right? This is your narcissistic abuse. This is your narcissistic mentality. There is no equality. With them, there is no, okay, no, that's my view. That's your view. That's cool. You keep it. That's awesome, man. Good for you for thinking for yourself. Good for you for thinking on your toes. No. Narcissists are. And what's interesting about it is narcissists they're not even sure about what they believe. They do a lot of what's called group or consolidated narcissism. They just kind of tag along with other people. They kind of go with the wind. You know what I mean? and they'll believe what these people believe, and then they'll believe what those people believe, and whoever seems the most popular and the most aggressive and the most loudest, they'll jump into that because they don't have their own solid identity, and so they're constantly looking for the next coolest identity, and they'll become part of that, and they'll take that on with lots of might, and then they'll be yelling at everybody who's opposed to that mentality. You know, it's real weird. But the signs. What's that?
Do you think if I heal from this, which I know it's going to take a while,
it does,
and I get my boundaries back up, and I get my standards back up, and I come to grips with who I am again.
Yes.
Do you think the chances of meeting someone like this will be a lot lower?
You know, yes, because and that's a good question. It's kind of like, how did you miss the signs, right?
Yeah.
And it's not that you missed the signs, because the signs were always there. I didn't miss the signs either. But what we tend to do is we tend to brush the signs off. Not a big deal.
Yeah.
You know, again, narcissistic abuse is not, it's not, we don't suffer from PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, like we talked last night, which is one trauma, boom, being hit with something, and then you're traumatized. With narcissistic abuse, it's death by 1,000 million little razor cuts, right? That happens over a long period of time. So that's why it's called complex post-traumatic stress disorder, because it's very complex. It's hard to go back and remember all the little words they said and all the things that we dismissed and we kind of brushed off. Oh, that's not a big deal. You know, that's not a big, it hurt a little. That hurt a little bit, not a big deal. What's going to happen in the future now is you are going to be more aware of that. So when you come across an individual dating or whatever, and all of a sudden you see the way they treat somebody, you're going to go, whoa, what's up with that?
Yeah.
Right? And you might even bring it forward. You know, that was kind of, what did you mean by that? You know, you said this. And you're going to challenge somebody to explain themselves and either find out what is really going on. Is it their sense of humor? Is it a complete lack of empathy? This is where you're really going to take the time and the patience to get to know somebody, and you'll be able to find out who's controlling, who has a lack of empathy, who is sometimes just has a weird sense of humor that sometimes they can get away with them. And, you know, all narcissists will say, I'm just kidding, you know, I was just kidding, or whatever, like it's some kind of a phrase just to get out of it. But you'll know the difference between somebody who's just kidding. We all do. Narcissists think people are stupid. They do. And so you'll be able to see right through it. And you're going to say, okay, yeah, you think we don't know the difference between a joke. Whereas if you come across somebody who is genuinely a good person, but sometimes has a bad joke, and then you'll know it because then they feel kind of bad. You bring it up to them and they feel bad, and they're like, that was a bad joke, you know, because we've all been guilty of maybe saying an inappropriate joke or something from time to time, and we feel bad, and that's what normal human behavior, normal, you know, we feel bad and oops, sorry, thanks for catching it, thanks for letting me know. A narcissist won't do that, right? Narcissist, just kidding, you know. What can't you take a joke? What, can't I joke? Oh, you think you're better? You think you're better? That's typically the how narcissists run their mouths after they do something inappropriate and don't show any empathy for it. And these are the things you're going to recognize. You're going to start to see these things.
I had never joked around.
Mm-hmm.
Everything he meant it.
Okay.
Like there was no joke. Like when he said I was overweight and I'm not overweight, he meant it.
Okay, well then there's also these direct things that are inappropriate that just show lack of empathy. That's just and you're going to come across these people too, right? They're just they don't have very good tact in what they're saying. And so here's the thing. This is how you're going to identify it, right? It's not, you're going to have to feel that out. And when you go into relationships, you're going to have your own checks and balances in place. Can I live with the types of things this person says, how he's talking, how he's describing things, the way he puts this out? It's because you're not going to be able to change a lot of these things. Okay? So that's why I was saying you can come across a person and they can have these moments where they don't have very good tact or their jokes are bad or whatever. And if you can talk about it and you can ease that feeling that's inside of you that says, whoa, that's weird, then good. Then maybe you can continue on to another date, right? If you can't, resolve it, then you have to trust it. It's all about trusting your own discernment as you go forward. You said, how do you see the signs? Trust your discernment. The moment something says that's kind of weird, that's a little combative, or that's a little argumentative, trust that. We got to stop. We have to stop ignoring our own discernment in situations with people, right? I made a video, and I want you to watch it. And gosh, the name of it, I have over 100 videos now, so it's hard for me to remember the names of them, guys. It wasn't that long ago. It was before the video on. No, it was on flashbacks. Okay, so it's the video on flashbacks, and in it I talk about the result of flashbacks in your life and another form of flashbacks, which is called violent fantasies. And the reason I think you should watch this is because at the end of it, what I do is I talk about how these things form a new way of living inside of you. And in a way, it will protect you. And I gave a story. I'm not going to go into the whole story now, but in that video, I talk about a story where I was outside of my car. I was approached by a person, a man I'd never met before, who asked if he could talk to me for a minute. We were alone, right? And I said, no, I've got to go, because I did. I was late for work, and he kept approaching after I said no. Something inside of me triggered. I got in the car. I got the heck out of there, right? And so, whereas, if you're not following your discernment, who knows, maybe you can stay there in that situation, and who knows what can happen. This is why it's important to trust your discernment in all situations. Trust that gut feeling. So, and that's an extreme case of getting out of a situation. But if you're dating, same rules. Friends, coworkers, just be aware of what they're saying, what's going on, and don't just dismiss stuff necessarily. Let it register, right? And then be mindful of that. That's how that person is. You've got to start to be mindful of this stuff. And then you have to decide if you're talking about an intimate relationship, you've got to know that you know who and what you're dealing with before you decide to get intimate with them. That's the only thing that's going to protect you, is yourself, right?
And the biggest thing is, I think when I was raised to be the good girl, right? The good girl, and everyone was good, and now I'm teaching my daughter, who's 11 now, very, very differently. Mm-hmm. Very, very differently.
Right.
Just because I know how dangerous it is.
Right. Right. We all fall in that boat. I think most of us here, we're in this community. We were all, went to church for the most part, or maybe not all of us, but a lot of us did, and taught, go and love everybody, and everybody's going to love you back. That's just how you live. Go and sprinkle your sunshine everywhere. And works.
There isn't bad people out there, bad people are only in the newspapers, but there's bad people everywhere.
Everywhere. That's I go over this in my course. I'm going to plug the course right now, guys. This is an important part of the course that I put out there. It was the biggest part for me to understand was acceptance, accepting narcissistic abuse as a reality of the world we live in. For some reason, we get into this bubble, this protected bubble of, well, we're good people. Why can't everybody else be good to us? And that's not the reality of the world. I wrestled with my faith. I turned my back from my faith because I went through this period and moment where I couldn't believe it. I felt betrayed. Like, what a betrayal. I just found out that you can love and love and love and love, and someone's still going to smash you in the face just because they want to. What's up with that? It makes no sense. It blew my mind. And I said, I don't know if I want this anymore. I don't know if I want to have faith, if that's what it's all about. And it was through this process that I got that, that spiritual tap on the shoulder, from behind me saying, hey, I'm not going anywhere. That was my faith. That was God talking to me saying, I'm not leaving you through this. And congratulations, by the way. And I'm like, congratulations for what? I'm a mess. And it was the message was congratulations, because now you understand the reality of the world you live in. You're no longer in that bubble that you were, that happy-go-lucky, everybody is just kissing, loving sunshine, kumbaya world. That's not the world you live in. It never was that world. And it's a very hard thing to realize.
And God clearly said to me, I led you out of this.
Right.
And he said it very clearly. And I'm like, okay, you led me out of it. Now I'm going to learn from it and help others.
There you go.
Thank you very much, Kevin.
Thank you. I'm glad you called. Great conversation.
Have a good night.
You too. Bye. All right, guys. Yeah, the telephone line is back open. I'll take a couple more phone calls because we did start a little bit late. I want to give a shout out to our moderators. I want to thank you, ladies, for being there. Blue, thank you for everything that you do, for posting videos, for welcoming people, for just being there. We got a phone call from Colorado. If you just hold one moment. And Blue, you're a huge help. I'm so thankful for you. Blue also has a Facebook group, and I encourage you to talk to Blue about the Facebook group that she has going on. I believe she's looking for moderators as well for that. Blue, thank you for everything that you do. Taylor Zabel, thank you for being here as a moderator as well. Taylor, the way you encourage people and respond to people and help people out is just amazing. So everybody just be sure to give the moderators a lot of love and a lot of appreciation. For Justice and Truth, she comes in. I see her peek in once in a while. Haven't seen her in a while, but when she's here, thank her as well, guys. And before I get into this phone call, guys, if you are looking to be able to donate, you're welcome to donate to the Royal We through PayPal on the homepage. You can also get merchandise. It's another way for you to donate. If you look in the description box, you will see of this video, you will see that there is a merchandise area now. You can buy shirts and mugs and hoodies and stuff that has a really cool Royal We logo. I'm excited about that. Let's go ahead and take this call from Colorado. You're live on the Royal We. Thank you for calling.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm okay. Just dealing with an ex that's a narcissist who I have a daughter with.
Uh-oh.
Yes, I am just a little confused. I'm in the middle of a custody battle, which they get really, really nasty.
Yeah.
The thing is, he's using my child he's using my child against me
Okay.
I don't want to be together, and I'm moving on with my life. We're in the middle of a custody battle because he's been very neglectful and abusive to myself and my daughter. Like, she's already 12 and my daughter is afraid of him to tell the truth in the middle of all this. But so he's using her to kind of try to turn her against me in this custody battle, so that way he could hurt me and get back at me.
I'm sorry. How old did you say she is again?
She's 12, but he's been so abusive all her life. She's intimidated by him.
Right.
So because at one point he's even told her that if she tells the truth, he's gonna hurt me, or something like that. So she's very intimidated of him. So I'm just wondering, like, how to deal with this court stuff, I guess, in regards to this person.
Well, as far as the court stuff goes, you are going to have to allow the court to do what it's going to do. Okay?
Yeah.
So they're going to trust that. Do you have an attorney?
I had one. I'm getting actually a better one now,
Okay.
which deals with abuse.
So,
But I guess their tactics, in regards to, like, a narcissist tactics in regards to when it comes to
sure. They want
this kind of situation,
Yeah, well, they want to do what they do all the time anyways, which is to smear campaign against you. They want to make you look like a horrible person. They want to, just ruin your credibility, paint you to be the monster, right? And so it's going to take a lot, and this is why it's important to have an attorney, because the further away you are, the more you detach from the situation. Here, and it's important to detach. You should not be trying to negotiate or talk with your ex at all, okay, about this.
Yeah.
Because this is where he's going to get you going emotionally. This is where he's going to really just try to stomp on you, right? Especially if you have that intimidating type of narcissist, which it sounds like you do. That's what you indicated. He's intimidated you, He's intimidating your daughter. He'll intimidate anybody except for an attorney, because an attorney will turn around and, they got the guys and they got the law behind them. So they're not going to be able to do that and get away with it. So what you're going to have to do is just put it into the attorney's hands, put it in the court's hands, and then you're going to have to learn how to just be satisfied with what the court says. So if you get the children or the child for this, 2 weeks, and then he gets them for a week or whatever it is, you're going to have to be okay with that. And just focus on doing your part. That's all you have to do. Don't do the narcissist part. Don't bend over backwards to whatever they demand, that the narcissist demands. Just do your part, fulfill it by the law. Don't get involved in the arguing and the bantering and all that nonsense that they want to do. That's the only way you're going to be able to move on with your life. And then focus on just being a good mom. Okay?
Yeah.
It's going to be hard because you're going to be battling.
At this point,
go ahead.
Yeah, at this point, he kind of just has my daughter. So that way, with all his threats and stuff, they kind of wanted to, I don't know, the court system is really messed up here. But, with all the threats and stuff he's given to everybody, even witnesses and crazy stuff, they kind of just said, hey, just separate from him for a while, just let him get his way, to kind of show him, okay, he's won, let him calm down a little bit, So right now he has my daughter.
Okay.
I kind of haven't talked to him at all. There's a website we talk, where it's monitored. And even it's crazy because even through that website, because I don't talk to him, like he's trying to ruin my childcare. He's trying to ruin my health, crazy stuff. It's like anything he feels like he could try to ruin me. Now that's not my daughter. He'll try to even call my son's daycare, and he'll call my friends to say I talk about them or I say bad stuff about them. Or,
exactly.
It's anything.
It's a bad.
Stuff.
Yeah, it is crazy. It's a smear campaign. It's the worst thing ever. And you are going to be left feeling like you are on damage control, and you're going to be running around trying to repair all of these relationships, and so confused that you're going to be missing the big picture here, which is what's supposed to be happening with the court, what's supposed to be happening as far as the child's rights. Okay, so you're going to have to find a balance. Ignore a lot of the stuff that he's doing. Talk to the people who are key people in your life and in your child's life that you know, and do this carefully.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't. I'm not talking about the mutual friends you had together. Let them go. If he's trying to align mutual friends, and let him go. People who you don't need, let him go. But if it comes down to the teachers and things like this that you have to deal with because of your children, I would sit down with the teacher and one-on-one say, listen, I just want to let you know I'm going through a bad divorce. So you're probably going to be hearing some stuff from him and from me, just to let you know that's what's going on. End of story. Don't make it a reverse smear campaign. Just say it's a bad divorce. There's probably going to be a lot of nasty things said. I'm sorry. Apologize to her for it. I'm sorry about it. Right? And I hope you don't have to hear a lot of bad stuff. Okay? And so, but just do that carefully with key people who you need to stay associated with. If you don't, let them go. Let them go. If that means you have to start all over with new friends and new people, then you start all over, right? Because a lot of times that's what has to happen. They do.
That's what I feel like I'm doing now. It's like,
right.
And it's nice because I have met so many better people getting rid of all the crap. It's
right.
It's nice to feel, but it's like to have to go to this extent is just ridiculous.
It is. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. My heart goes out to you, hon. It really does in this situation. But again, the thing for you to remember, no contact with your ex throughout this process. Make it all through the attorneys only. Let the attorneys handle it. Yeah. Okay. And remain unemotional about it. It's very difficult. But again, the abusive narcissist's goal is to get you emotionally riled up so they can point at you and say, see, look how unfit she is. You see how she's throwing a fit and this and that. So that's why you wanted to limit your contact with him. No contact with him. Only through the attorneys. Don't go through your daughter. Don't exchange information. I would calmly tell your daughter, listen, I don't want to hear anything that he has to say. and end it at that. Establish that boundary even with your own child. We're not here to talk about
right now they're supervised, so that way they monitor anything she says, or and she does come in talk, just because we're trying to just stay to where I don't have nothing to do with him at all at this point.
And that's how it should be. That's how it should be.
Yeah, and but even if I do that, it's like now they separated us and just kind of, for right now, just said, well, okay, here's your way, take your daughter, whatever, for right now. It's just very temporary.
Give it some time. But, give it some time. Give it some time.
How long, is he ever going to give up, or is he
won't.
End up in jail to the point where he's, done?
Right. No, he will not give up. He will, narcissists, and I don't know this person personally, but when we're talking about narcissistically abusive individuals in general, that's their life. How do you give up on the way in which you've decided you're going to live your life, right? It would take a radical, miraculous change of someone's life that is beyond anything that you or I could be a part of, right?
Yeah.
It's a personal change that they have to make.
Yeah, I've done. I went to like the abuse places, that help women and stuff like that. And that was my question: is why? Like why? Like if someone, I don't know, and someone that has all this time on their hands, why? And she's like, there's no reason to even wonder why. Like, don't even.
Right. You waste your time. You waste your time.
You'll never know.
Right.
You'll never know.
The bigger question why, right, the bigger question why, the real question of why that we need to start asking ourselves is because, if you want to know why, and I'll wrap this up so we can take one more phone call after this, but if you want to know why people are evil and people are narcissistically abusive, the answer to that is because that's the way it's always been. As a matter of fact, in the ancient Hebrew text of the Bible, and I talk about this all the time in the book of Genesis, it was, Adam was told, cursed is the ground that you walk on because of what had taken place. And so we know that we lived on a cursed earth. This was the ancient theological perspective as to why the earth is the way it is. So they did the best way to describe why we live in this place. And then from that point in the Bible, it is story after story of hostility, violence, killing, murdering, including Cain killing his own brother Abel, more death, more killing, more jealousy, more envy, more fighting, more all the stuff that you would associate with a place that is cursed. So it makes sense. So the answer is, why is it cursed? Why is it so hostile? Why? That's really what it is. It has nothing to do with this one person. Our deep question is why are we here? Why do we have to live in this? Why do we have to live and sometimes feel like we got to watch our backs? Because we live in a cursed place. And at some point, we got ourselves, like we were talking with the last caller, we got ourselves into this kumbaya, hippie stage of, well, let's everybody just love, man, free love. But guess what? It doesn't really work for the long term. Yeah. We're right back into seeing the reality of the curse of the earth, right? So this is what that's all about. And it's very, again, I go through some of this in my course, but it's very difficult to process all of it. But that's the why. That's the why. The why is very difficult to grasp. It just is what it has always been. But the important question, why, and I want to impress this upon you to shift your question, why, instead of asking why is he evil? Why is he narcissistic? Why doesn't he give up? Why does he have no empathy? Why doesn't he care? Instead of asking these questions, why, about that, which is externally, turn those why questions internally, and instead start asking, why didn't I see it? Why did I fail to recognize it? Why did I fail to say no when I should have said no? Why did I not? These are important questions. Why? And do you want to know why? They're important questions. Why? It's because these are actually things that you can change. You can change the reason why you ignored certain red flags. You can change that because you have the power to change and work on yourself, right? So if we start to look at these things internally instead of externally. Why is everybody evil? Why is the world evil? Why are narcissists this way? Why did they love bomb? Why do they hate me now? Why? And turn those inward. Why didn't I see it? Why? What did I miss? Why did I miss it? These are the most important questions that we could have, because it's going to start to, that's what's going to grow us as individuals. That's what's going to grow you as an individual moving on in this world. And it's going to help you to guide your daughter even better as well, right? To teach her to ask why should I trust this person, right? And I made a video about trust. Trust is kind of a word that I don't even necessarily think we should really gravitate towards, right? But why did I give this person so much of my life? Why did I open my heart to this person, right? These are better questions to ask.
Yeah.
Why am I getting involved?
Forever.
What's that?
It's like forever, It's like my daughter's whole life, and it's like he's actually even remarried and has another child, and he's still more concerned about how he could hurt me. Like, he doesn't even care about his wife. He married her to try to, after we separated, to try to see if he could hurt me by getting married again or by having another child. Or now that he didn't hurt me, like, and I was actually happy that, yes, he's going to finally move on. Like, and it got worse. It's like, it's kind of like, well, now he's in this position where he's even more miserable because he's like hooked up with a woman that's like no good. And he had another child, so that's like more money down the drain if they separate. He's just not a happy person at all.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
so,
thank you for calling.
Now.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
It's tough. I hope that we were able to chat and awaken some things inside of you that you're going to be able to use and help you in the situation. It's going to be hard, with what you're going through. And I wish I could take that pain and that discomfort from you, but I can't. This is going to be a personal exercise that you are going to have to get through in life, right? Just like everybody else. But there is a great community here for you. So you can ask more questions. You can vent, I'm sure, to these people and to me, and heal in that way.
Yes. Well, thank you so much.
Right on. Well, thank you for calling.
Your advice and your help.
You're welcome. Okay. Good night.
Bye.
All right, guys. Well, listen, it's 10:55, but I'm down for one more telephone call. If you guys are, before it's wrapped up, if someone wants to call within the next few seconds, I'll go ahead and take that telephone call. And I did already give a shout out to the moderators. I want to thank you guys once again. I talked about the ability that you have for donations if you want to donate, and also the merchandise that's available now if you want to check out the merchandise. And we'll take the last telephone call before we sign off. And it looks like it is coming from North Carolina, and it went away. If you want to call back again from North Carolina, you're more than welcome to. I don't know why. Oh, actually, she's there. Hi.
Oh, hi. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing? You're going to be the last telephone call, and we'll wrap it up. How are you tonight?
I'm good. I'm not going to say my name because I'm going to say some things that I haven't really spoken about before, but you have helped me so much, and I called before and you helped me, so I'm calling back this last time.
Okay, what's going on?
There's some new things that are happening. Oh my God, I hope I'm going to start crying, Kevin. I'm sorry. There's some new things that are happening in my life that I am grateful for. I'm starting to see myself again, and I'm starting to love myself.
Good. That's good.
And it is good. I mean, I can see the light, and I can see that, I think I mentioned before, but I was abused, but, I was molested by my dad, and I was abandoned by my mom at 9. So, I hear you when you talk about this love bombing, but that never happened to me. I walked right into the abuse because that is what I was accustomed to. That's all I knew. And I'm starting to make the connection of how I let that happen to myself. I didn't know the word narcissist, boundaries, or that I can say no, or that I had the right to be treated with respect because it never happened. But I'm going to say this. I'm working at a women's shelter now. I'm not working there, but I volunteer.
Good for you.
And I'm writing, and I'm just grateful. I'm calling you back because I just want to say that I'm so grateful for your show.
Thank you.
And
well, I'm grateful for you, and this is fantastic news of what you're doing, and you're being a part of women's lives, right?
Yeah,
that's huge. That is huge.
I want to give back. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm living in the shelter.
That's right there is the purpose, and what you've gotten down, and what you're figuring out is the purpose of your empathy. Right? So it's one of the reasons that you gravitated towards abuse is from a misguided understanding of your natural gifts. You're gifted, hon, with empathy. It's people like you who take care of other women. It's people like you who feed and shelter homeless people and who clothe the needy. This is you. This is who you are. That's your heart, right? And when it's not guided, when you don't have someone in your life to direct that and help you to direct that to where you need to use it, you end up trying to fix and solve the issue of abusive people because you look at them for what they are. You have the eyes. God has given you the eyes to see their brokenness. You see, and I see it too. A lot of us can see it. We can look at abusive narcissists and we see their brokenness. We see a hurt person. But what happens is what comes out of it is that entity that says, I don't want your help. I don't want to be fixed. I like this too much. And that's what destroys you. That's what destroys me. That's what destroys us. We get stuck because we can't do anything. Yeah. And all of a sudden we're seeing our gifts fail. Our gifts don't even work with these people because you cannot impose your gifts on somebody else. You can't. You can't make somebody change or be grateful for your empathy. So you need to guide your empathy to where it needs to be, to where people are really in need of it. It's kind of like the whole prayer thing too. I know a lot of people like to hope. Well, I'm going to hope, and if I pray and this and that, and I challenge people to understand something, okay? The Bible talks about this. It says, where two or more are gathered in my name, there my presence, I'll be with them. Basically, people have to be in agreement. If you're praying with somebody, they need to be in agreement with you for the Spirit to make any changes. So what happens in abusive relationships is you're praying, but the narcissist is not in agreement. An abusive narcissist is laughing. It's like the devil laughing and taking it as a joke. You kidding me? I don't want your prayer. So there's nothing that faith can do to change that because of free will, right? No matter what, God will not impose himself on someone else's free will. And if abusive narcissist free will is that they want to be hateful towards you, then there's no amount of prayer on your end that's going to fix that. The only thing that prayer works together is when two people are in agreement. And so using the gifts of empathy, you find the situations where people are broken and hurting because they're the ones that are in agreement with you. Help. We need help. And you're there saying, I agree. You need help. We're here to help. This is where two or more are gathered in his name, and the presence is there, and healing takes place, just like right here on the Royal We. This is the purpose. This is what's happening. Healing is here because we're in agreement, right?
Right.
I hope that makes sense to you.
It does. It makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
I do want to say that there's a hunting thought, and I'm sure you can help me here. There's a thought in the back of my head, only because my ex, he is in church now. I mean, he would never go to church with me, and he has a new supply now, and he said some awful things to me, but I'm over that.
Mm-hmm.
I know that that's what they do. They attack and tear you down.
Right.
So I'm not really concerned about what he said, but I just want to tell you so that you can give me some insight. Just that he found someone who makes him want to be a better person, and now he's in church, and that's confusing me.
Well, I've made a couple videos on this. There's one called oh, again, here I go again. When you have a lot of videos, you tend to forget the names of them. I'm sorry. So here we go. I talk about the morphing narcissists who morph into different identities. Again, when you're talking about abusive narcissists, they have no identity. They have no personal identity for themselves. They waver. They're gone with the wind. Whatever the next relationship is, that's what they become. So I have heard of stories of narcissistically abusive people going from being church-going people to wearing leather chaps and hanging out in biker bars and country bars, doing line dancing. You know what I mean? Because that's who they met, and they're going and they become that. They sold out. They got the cowboy hat, the boots, the stupid-looking tank top, and everything, and they are all full-blown cowboy. And you're scratching your head, going, "Who are you?" Because they morph into that. They morph into that. And it's good to hear you laughing. I love your laugh. And so, but it's the truth. And so do not be persuaded or pushed or envious or jealous or even buy into this as his new truth, that this is who he is now. Well, I mean, yeah, okay, this is who he is because of who he's with now. That's it. But it's not real. It's not grounded. The Bible talks about people who aren't solid and firm and grounded, and they get a little bit of seed. What happens to it? Well, later in life, the winds come or the sun comes and it scorches it, carries it away. It's fake. So I encourage you to watch those two videos if you can. I don't even know if Blue can find them, because I didn't even put the name out there, but one is called, it's a picture of an orange with a face on it. It's kind of weird, but it's the transforming narcissist, the morphing narcissist. And then one of my earlier videos, it's one of the very first ones that I did way back in the day, and it was on identity theft. Identity theft. And this is where I made that video literally not long after I experienced that myself, with somebody who I loved and invested in deeply, started to copy my mannerisms and talk like me to other people. And that was before the person then started to smear campaign me and destroy me and crush me and all this horrible stuff. But they carried on as though they just took my identity and ran with it. It blew my mind. It really did. I'd never seen anything like it before in my life, and I thought they pulled it off. And I was going, "Hey, that's me, but a twisted, weird version of me." But it's, so this stuff happens. So I wouldn't worry about it. I would focus on what you're doing now. You're doing amazing things. You're helping women. You're right where you're supposed to be. I would pay no attention to what he's doing or who he's with. I really wouldn't. I would block it out. Yep. I would write it off as it's the new person's problem, right? If he wants to play church for a while, let him play church, okay? And that's it. Do your best to move on.
I will. Kevin, I love you, and I love your program, and please continue with what you're doing. You are making such a difference, and I'm glad I have the opportunity to tell you that you have made a difference in my life. And thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate your phone call. Thank you so much.
Good night.
Good night. All right, guys, that was great. I had such a good time. I really appreciate the telephone calls tonight. Thank all of you for being a part of the Royal Weave, for hanging out late because we had that hiccup at 10 o'clock. If you did not get on the telephone tonight, call in tomorrow night. We will be here 10 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time, guys. I'm going to do everything to make sure that everything works the way it's supposed to work. tomorrow by 10 o'clock or earlier than 10 o'clock p.m. so we can get started right on time, guys, okay? I want to thank you guys again for being here. And I don't believe I left anything out except for those of you guys who are not comfortable with calling in, you're welcome to write in any question that you have. And if there's a break between phone calls, I will oftentimes go to a text message or to an email question or to an Instagram question. So you can find me at Instagram at Join the Royal We. On Instagram, you can email me at jointheroyalwe@gmail.com. And you can text me at the same telephone number that is scrolling at the bottom of the screen here, and I will read the questions and answer them online, guys, on the live stream, that is. And with that, I want to say good night to you guys, and we will be back tomorrow night right here on the Royal We. Have a great night, everybody.